Hello everyone, welcome to another video, and today I'm going to be talking about the 12 top singles matches in the history of the WWF WWE Survivor Series event. Now, Survivor Series was born in 1987, and the traditional concept of the Survivor Series was tag team elimination matches, which means you had 5 baby faces on one side, 5 heels on the other side, and vice versa. There was even a time when you had 5 babyface tag teams and 5 babyface heels on opposing sides against one another. And somewhere later on down the road, they would cut it down to 4-on-4 elimination tag team matches instead of 5-on-5, or 5 tag teams against 5 tag teams. Yeah, so later on, it was cut down to 4-on-4, and then eventually it went back to being 5-on-5 elimination tag team matches. And then the very first time you had a non-elimination match was in the year 1991 at the Survivor Series, when The Undertaker defeated Hulk Hogan for the WWF Championship in the Joe Louis Arena on that particular night. But with all of that being said, these are my picks for the top 12 singles matches in the history of Survivor Series. And we're going to kick it off with number 12. The WWF Women's Championship is on the line in a hardcore match. Trish Stratus defending the title against the challenger, Victoria. Now, this match, at the time, they weren't doing hardcore matches for the women, and this was something amazing to see. We saw these two women use kendo sticks, garbage cans. We seen them breaking the rules, like choking one another and just beating the ever-living piss out of each other, just throwing each other by the hair. And this is a really, really good matchup right here at Survivor Series 2002 in Madison Square Garden. Very physical, very good match where these women put themselves through hell and they left it all in the ring for the fans on that night. The end would come when Victoria would hit her finisher. I think it was called the Widow's Peak, to score the win and become the new WWF Women's Champion at Survivor Series 2002. Very, very good match that doesn't get a lot of credit, in my opinion, and it's worth a watch. Coming at number 11, this match comes from the 2018 Survivor Series. I'm talking about the Intercontinental Champion for Raw, Seth Rollins, taking on the WWE United States Champion for SmackDown at the time, Shinsuke Nakamura. Man, this match is highly underrated, and this is another match that doesn't get a lot of love, and it's often forgotten about. In this matchup right here, Seth Rollins and Nakamura, they showed that they have some good chemistry against one another. Here in this match, they were out there and they were just countering everything they were throwing at each other. Nakamura with his fancy footwork and those kicks, swings and misses, and Seth Rollins would counter some of those moves, reverse it into something else, and Seth Rollins eventually hits the bow and arrow suplex on Nakamura, the 3 bow and arrow suplexes on Nakamura. And then again, at some point, Nakamura countered, if I could remember correctly. I can't remember correctly because it was so long ago. He hit the Kinshasa, I believe. Or he might have missed it. I could be wrong. Anyhow, after about 18 to 19 grueling minutes of action, Seth Rollins would hit the curb stomp and would get the win in this really, really good interpromotional match from the 2018 Survivor Series. Another match comes from the same event, the 2018 Survivor Series, the Raw Women's Champion, Ronda Rousey, taking on the SmackDown Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair. Now this matchup, which is my number 10 pick, this matchup right here is a really, really good match. And Charlotte this night got cheered by the WWE fans. A lot of people, they got sick and tired of Charlotte after a while, but in this particular matchup here, they like cheered her because she took Ronda Rousey to the limit. And the match ended in disqualification when Charlotte would continue to beat the crap out of Ronda Rousey. She wants to say, you claim to be the baddest woman on the planet? Let me show you who's the baddest woman on the planet. And then from there, Charlotte, oh man, she just laid into Ronda Rousey. I remember she used the kendo stick. She was whipping her outside on the barricade, and she was just beating the hell out of this woman. Charlotte even took out some of the referees in that match, if I remember correctly. Your winner by disqualification, Ronda Rousey, but Ronda may have won the battle, but Charlotte won the war on this night in a very, very good interpromotional match at the Survivor Series 2018. Another match, another women's match coming at number 9 for the Raw Women's Champion. Actually, the Raw Women's Champion at the time, Becky Lynch, taking on the SmackDown Women's Champion. Once again here, Charlotte Flair at the 2021 Survivor Series. I was in the building that night for that Survivor Series 2021 in the Barclays Center. And oh my gosh, when these two women went out there in the opening matchup, that crowd just went ballistic because you saw vengeance in Becky's eyes. She couldn't wait to get her hands on this woman, Charlotte Flair. And they just beat the crap out of each other. They were like really throwing blows at each other. My gosh, they made this look like a legit shoot fight. In the end, the dirty tactics of Charlotte Flair failed, and Becky Lynch using Charlotte's own dirty tactics against her during a backflip attempt, a sit-down pull-over move, and Becky grabs the ropes and gets the 3 count, and the referee did not see it. But right before that, Charlotte attempted the same thing, but Becky was able to like roll over on top of her and get the pin without the referee seeing Becky using the ropes for assistance. A little bit of your own taste, huh, Charlotte Flair? Taste of your own dirty medicine. And the winner of this match, Becky Lynch, the Raw Women's Champion. Coming in at number 8, the World Wrestling Federation Champion, Big Daddy Cool Diesel, defending the championship against the Excellence of Execution, the challenger, Bret the Hitman Hart. What a physical matchup. This was a no-holds-barred match. We seen both guys using real dirty tactics. Bret Hart at one point, he used a steel chair and he was just softening up Diesel. He was working over the leg of Diesel, I remember a lot in this matchup, as he's done in all of their previous matches. And Diesel was just like beating the crap out of Bret, using his size to his advantage. And I remember Diesel was playing really, really dirty. He was choking Bret so much at one point, he thought Bret was gonna pass out, if I remember correctly. And then the major spot that happened in this matchup, the first time ever this have happened in a WWF match, it was the table spot where Bret Hart is on the ring apron. He's climbing back up onto the ring apron, trying to get back in the ring, and Diesel just grabs the ropes and he yanks it forward, and Bret goes flying and landing through the Spanish announce table. The first time ever that has happened. That is an iconic moment in that matchup. And to see Bret Hart go through that table, and the way that table was situated, it just broke perfectly in two like this. And the Spanish announcers, yeah, they were also in disbelief when that happened. And then Diesel goes out to the ring to grab Bret Hart, and Bret Hart is down, but he's not out. So Diesel throws Bret Hart back into the ring, and there was a moment of hesitation where Diesel looked like he was having a little remorse. He was slowly picking Bret up, looking closely at him, but Bret, being the excellent technician that he is, just goes and he cradles Diesel up for a roll-up pin and gets the 1, 2, 3, putting an end to Diesel's year-long reign as WWF champion. Diesel held the WWF title for a little over 300 and no, well, actually almost 365 days. I think he was like a week short of completing one full year as WWF champion. But be that as it may, Bret Hart regains the World Wrestling Federation Championship in this classic title match at the 1995 Survivor Series. Match number 7, AJ Styles versus Finn Balor from the 2022 Survivor Series. The backstory here is that Finn Balor tried to get AJ Styles to join the Judgment Day, but AJ Styles wasn't having any of it. He said, no, I'm not going to join your stupid Judgment Day, and the war was on in this matchup. Very, very good, fast-paced match. We seen a lot of moments in that match where we thought Finn was going to tap, but he sucked it up and he kept fighting back at AJ. We seen Finn hit his signature moves, his what is it? The whip into the corner, followed by the drop kick, and then the crossover elbow drop that he does when he rings his opponent's arm and he just drops that elbow down on them. Yeah, but this was a really, really good match. Really, really nice, fast-paced match. They got about almost 15 minutes here to do what they do. Two of the best workers in wrestling right here in AJ Styles and Finn Balor. The end come when AJ hit Finn with the phenomenal forearm, and that was all she wrote. Your winner here in this really, really excellent one-on-one match, AJ Styles versus Finn Balor at the 2022 edition of the Survivor Series. Coming in at number 6, last man standing match. The Nature Boy Ric Flair taking on the Cerebral Assassin, The Game, Triple H from the 2005 edition of the Survivor Series. Oh my gosh. This match, it was just a dogfight. This was just a dogfight. We seen these guys just on the outside. Ric Flair took a nasty back body drop on the outside of the ring. I remember at one point Triple H got a freaking toolbox and he was just gnawing away at Ric Flair's flesh, just trying to bust this guy open, man. Oh my gosh. That 2005 version of Triple H is the most heelish, sinister version I've ever seen of Triple H, ever. And I'm telling you, that's when he was at his most intense and most heelish character, was that year 2005. I would say between 2002 and 2005, those were the years of the most hated version of Triple H we ever got. Anyway, Flair fought back. He was using the steel chair, and he was using the sledgehammer too. There was one point in the match where Triple H brought out the sledgehammer, and then the sledgehammer ended up nailing Triple H at some point when Flair used the sledgehammer, I believe, or it might have hit Triple H by accident, something along those lines. But youth and strength was too much for the old man to overcome. As Triple H, I think he delivered 2 sledgehammer shots to Flair, and then at one point he pounded Flair like right in the spine. And then the referee counted 10. Flair was unable to answer the 10 count, and Triple H became the victor. I remember Flair was gnawing away at Triple H. He was biting him, and then he was like grabbing him in the nuts and all that stuff. You know, the dirtiest player in the game tactic, as always. But anyway, Triple H would get this win, and after the match, I remember Triple H, he looked down at Flair, and then he went like this to him. Pew, like that. That was a signal of disrespect, means, you old dog, I just put you out of your misery. But a very, very good excellent last man standing match between the Cerebral Assassin Triple H and the Nature Boy Ric Flair here at the 2005 Survivor Series. Coming at number 5, the WWE Champion AJ Styles going one-on-one with the Universal Champion Brock Lesnar at the 2017 edition of the Survivor Series. Oh my gosh, AJ Styles, just a couple of days earlier, he won the WWF title from Jinder Mahal. It might have been a week or two earlier, now that I think about it. But anyway, yeah, AJ would defeat Jinder Mahal for the championship and go into the Survivor Series as he went up against Brock Lesnar. Yeah, so right there in that matchup, we saw a lot of stuff. There was moments in that match where we thought Brock was gonna tap because AJ got him in the submission move called the Cab Crusher. And then at one point we seen AJ hit Brock with a Pele kick. AJ's head just bounced like right off Brock's head. Brock took that blow like a champ, man. It was like, it was amazing. And then AJ did nail the phenomenal forearm on Brock, but Brock took AJ to Suplex City, man. I just lost count of how many times he was belly suplexing poor AJ and just throwing him all over that ring. Anyway, the end came when AJ attempted another phenomenal forearm. And the way this was done, it was done perfectly. The way Brock caught AJ like right in his arms, he just caught the man like promptly right on top of his arms like this, and he delivered a F5 for the win. And yeah, Brock Lesnar is the victor in a very, very, very good, very excellent matchup at the 17 Survivor Series, a dream match, and I'm glad we got this matchup right here in the year 2017. Number 4 goes to the submission match for the WWF Championship at the 1994 Survivor Series. Bret Hitman Hart defending the WWF Championship against the former WWF Champion Bob Backlund. So a little backstory here for you. I'm not going to do it with every match, just for some of the matches here on this list. So back in July of 1994, there was a match between Bret Hart and Bob Backlund on WWF Superstars. And in that particular match, very, very good TV match, Bret Hart would defeat Mr. Backlund in that very match. And then after the match, Bob Backlund would snap. He would just snap when Bret Hart was just trying to offer him a handshake in show of good sportsmanship. But Backlund, he refused to shake Bret Hart's hand, and he just slapped him, boom, right in the face. And then Backlund would apply the crossface chicken wing. And then after applying the crossface chicken wing and then eventually letting go, he looked at his hands like this, like he was a madman. So at the end of July of 1994, Bob Backlund becomes a sinister heel. He even attacks his former manager, Arnold Skaaland, and then he attacks a writer for the WWF magazine. I remember him putting it on him. Then there was also on Monday Night Raw, he did something where he attacked Lex Luger and he wouldn't let go, and then Macho Man Randy Savage would come to Lex Luger's rescue, fighting off bitter Bob Backlund. And then also the 1-2-3 Kid was another one who fell victim to Backlund's chicken wing. Fast forward November of 1994 to the Survivor Series, Bret Hart versus Bob Backlund in a submission match for the WWF title. The stipulation here was each man would have a corner man, and each of those corner men would have a towel, and whichever one of them throws the towel in, that means their man loses and the other person would become the WWF champion. In Bret's case, he would retain the title, or in Backlund's case, he would capture the WWF title. Anyhow, in Bret Hart's corner, he had his brother-in-law, the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith, and in Backlund's corner, he had Bret Hart's brother, the Rocket Owen Hart, who Bret had developed a very, very heated rivalry with. So this matchup went on for, oh my gosh, it felt like forever. 35 minutes. We seen good chain wrestling. We seen good from Backlund. We seen good to great technical wrestling from Bret. We seen reversals. We seen counters. It's too much to get into right here in this video. Just a really, really good match. We seen what both these guys brought to the table. They showed why they are well matched up and why they are both technicians and they belonged in that ring in one of the main events at this show. So the end came when the British Bulldog and Owen Hart. Well, Owen Hart jumped into the ring and he interfered, and he would Bret had Backlund in the sharpshooter, and Owen Hart would just run around the ring. The British Bulldog would chase him around the ring, and then Owen would slide into the ring, and he would just nail his brother from behind and drive him down to the canvas while he was chasing the Bulldog around the ring. And then Owen continued to play the little game where he's running around the ring. And then the British Bulldog at one point charges at him, and Owen ducks out of the way, and the British Bulldog knocked himself out on the ring stairs. He would bash his skull right into the ring stairs. And right there, we seen Owen acting like he's showing compassion for his brother-in-law, and goes to him, checks on him, picks him up by the head, tries to wake him up, but nothing's happening. And then at the same time, Stu and Helen Hart are backstage. They're ringside. And then Owen Hart opens the barricade, and he has this look on his face where he's crying. And then at the same time, Backlund has Bret in the crossface chicken wing. This crossface chicken wing is being applied for a good 5 minutes or so on Bret, right? So Owen Hart, he's pleading with his parents. He's saying, oh, I don't want it to be like this. That's my brother. I care about him. You know, we're a family. We're supposed to be a family. We shouldn't be doing this. We shouldn't be fighting. Mom and Dad, that's Bret. I love Bret. You know, you got to throw in the towel to save Bret, because he's acting like he's showing compassion for his brother. And after pleading with his mother and father for several minutes, his father, Stu Hart, isn't buying any of this at all. At one point, I remember Helen Hart, that's Bret's mom, was grabbing the towel to throw at it, but Stu Hart grabbed it away from her. And then continually, Owen continues to persuade his mother, to manipulate his mother, I should say, to throw the towel in. And then she couldn't take it anymore, and she couldn't take it to see Bret Hart be laying there in that pain in that crossface chicken wing. And then she just yanked the towel out of Stu's hand and threw it in the ring, and then the bell rang. And Bob Backlund is your new World Wrestling Federation champion. Right at the moment of the bell ringing, Owen jumps into the ring, and then as soon as he jumps into the ring, he runs out of the ring, and then he goes backstage. And then Bob Backlund is in the ring celebrating as the new World Wrestling Federation champion. And Bret Hart is just leaving the ring, being held by officials, being in great pain, obviously. And Vince McMahon said that's got to break Bret's heart with Bob Backlund as the new WWF champion. Then we go to backstage interview, and Todd Pettingill is interviewing Owen Hart. Owen Hart admits that his mom and dad fell right into his trap, and Bret Hart is no longer the champion. Mr. Backlund is, and how he's going to become better than Bret. He's going to become the tag team champion, the Intercontinental champion, and he's going to win the WWF title. And he is just gloating at the fact that he cost his brother the WWF title. Oh my gosh, this is storytelling at its finest. If you haven't seen Bret Hart, Bob Backlund, Survivor Series 94 with Owen Hart and the British Bulldog as the respective cornermen, please go back and watch it. Great storytelling here. Bob Backlund is your new World Wrestling Federation champion. And then Backlund also cuts a backstage promo a little bit later on where he said he feels like God because he captured the title, and he is a champion that kids can be proud of and that young people can emulate and all that good stuff. Very, very great matchup here. One of my favorites in Survivor Series history. Also, just a little note here, Backlund's title reign would end 3 days later in Madison Square Garden when Diesel captured the title from him in 8 seconds. But on this night, Thanksgiving Eve 1994, Bob Backlund becomes the new World Wrestling Federation champion. A classic. All right, coming in at number 3, Daniel Bryan, the WWE champion, taking on the Beast Incarnate, the Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar. Yet again, another match from the 2018 Survivor Series. This 2018 Survivor Series had some really, really good matches on it. So Daniel Bryan had won the title 2 days earlier on SmackDown, and he was going into this matchup. I am so glad we got this matchup here between Bryan and Brock, because if it had not happened here at this event, you know for a fact that it wasn't going to happen ever again, because both men were at that time. Brock was a part-time wrestler. Daniel Bryan was already a heel. So you know, if this wasn't the time to do it, it was not going to happen. I got to give Vince McMahon credit for this one. He knew what to do in this situation, and he gave us the match, Bryan against Brock. These guys got at least 20 minutes plus here, and Brock Lesnar was just throwing this man all over the ring. You felt sorry for Daniel Bryan, knowing his history of neck trouble and neck issues and all that stuff that he has. But then later on, Bryan showed great persistence. He came back and he fought back. And there was several times in that match where you thought Brock was gonna tap. Bryan got Brock in the label lock at some point. Brock came so close to tapping out. He came so close to tapping out. And then we seen also Bryan was just trying his best to counter everything Brock was throwing at him. He even gave him the running knee in the corner. You know, that wasn't enough to put the beast away. And then we saw the F5 from Brock. Brock attempted it a couple of times but was unable to put Bryan away. And then Bryan, I think Brock might have did a third one on him. Can't really remember all that well because it's such a long time. Also, you're probably saying he remembers 1994, but he doesn't remember this, right? Yeah. So, yeah. But anyhow, Brock Lesnar, and I think Daniel Bryan also caught Brock in one of those leg lock submissions as well. But Brock is so strong, he didn't tap out. He powered his way out of it. I remember him like slamming Bryan down to the canvas by and in a way he got out of it. And then Bryan also tried out those stomp to the faces that he used to do, where he would pull your hands up like this, put his foot down in your face, and just stomp you. But to no avail, none of that worked. And in the end, Brock Lesnar really got the victory here in this match as he defeated the WWE champion Daniel Bryan at the 2018 Survivor Series. Really solid matchup here. One of my favorites as well. All right, number 2 goes to Bret the Hitman Hart. Survivor Series was actually was the Bret Hart show. Really good matches with Bret at Survivor Series. Bret the Hitman Hart against Stone Cold Steve Austin. The very first matchup between the Hitman and the Rattlesnake took place at the 1996 Survivor Series. Really good match. Bret Hart was away for about 6 months, coming off the loss in the Iron Man match against Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 12. This was his return after 6 months off. Bret Hart comes back and he wrestled Stone Cold Steve Austin in Madison Square Garden. What a great matchup. We seen the dirty tactics of Austin doing everything he can to go toe-to-toe with Bret. But Bret also proved on this night that he's not just a great technical wrestler. He can mix it up with the fisticuffs as well. So the ending came when I remember also there was a spot in the match where Stone Cold just dropped Bret Hart. No, Bret Hart dropped Stone Cold on the ring ropes, and it looked really incredibly stiff. I was like, ouch, when I saw that. And there was an Irish whip into the corner where Austin whipped Bret, but Bret went flying and he slid and he hit the ring post while going into the other corner. I always thought that was brutal. The superplex spot off the top rope that Austin hit on Bret, that's another very good spot. And then the ending would come where Austin would have Bret in a sleeper hold, and then Bret Hart would inch his way to the turnbuckle and kick off the turnbuckle and into a backflip and pin Austin and get the win in this highly competitive matchup at the 1996 Survivor Series. Bret Hart defeats Stone Cold Steve Austin in one of many of their matches. If you ask me, this match right here is their best matchup that they ever had, the very first meeting between the two. All right, now it's time for my number 1 pick. For the WWF Championship, the WWF Champion Bret the Hitman Hart defending the title against the Intercontinental Champion, Shawn Michaels, at the 1996 Survivor Series. Now, this matchup here gets forgotten about a lot, and most people seem to remember the match they had in Montreal with the whole Montreal screw job and everything. The Montreal screw job is played out at this point. Everywhere you go, you probably heard about it a million times, or every podcast or whatever, internet, you heard it so many times. It's like it's so played out by now. The Montreal screw job. But this matchup here, 1992 Survivor Series, the first actual advertised pay-per-view main event for Bret Hart and for Shawn Michaels. They were in the main event, first time ever. These guys had something to prove here, even though Bret Hart headlined with the British Bulldog. But, you know, that was a match when Bret Hart was Intercontinental Champion. But it still counts. But you know what I'm saying? Bret Hart as the WWF Champion to actually headline a show, it was something special for the first time. And Shawn Michaels as well. Shawn Michaels had just won the Intercontinental title about a few weeks earlier from the British Bulldog. And the British Bulldog had defeated Bret Hart for that same Intercontinental title at SummerSlam several months earlier. So you had a matchup here where Bret Hart went into the Survivor Series, and it was about, I think, 6 weeks earlier, Bret Hart also captured the WWF title from the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, in his home country of Canada, Saskatoon, Canada. He won the title. That was the hometown of his father, Stu Hart. So very, very historical significances in here as far as this match is concerned. A very, very good matchup here. A classic encounter between these two. We seen Bret with his technical ability. We seen Shawn with his high-flying maneuvers. We seen these guys, you know, go at each other, hold for hold, move for move. And we thought it was over at once when Shawn Michaels hit the side suplex, which was his finisher at the time. We also saw the sweet chin music, but that was not enough to do Bret in, the super kick that is. And then we also seen Bret do a suplex spot where he has Shawn on the top rope, and then he suplexes Shawn while he's standing on the middle rope, he suplexes Shawn, who is sitting on the top rope. Very, very nice spot right there as well. And then we also see Bret Hart wearing Shawn down with an arm bar all throughout the match. And these guys are just, you know, going at it, hold for hold, move for move. The ending came when we saw Shawn Michaels attempt a drop kick from the top rope, and Bret catches him by the legs and turns it over into the sharpshooter. Oh, and there was one other spot I forgot to mention. Shawn was tied up in the ropes, and Bret Hart was just charging to him. And Bret Hart, just legs first, he just landed. Shawn Michaels moved, and he just landed. And he got himself crumpled up in the ropes. You can see the pain that he was in when he hit that move. Bobby Heenan on the commentary was like, oh, look, he's bungeed himself. And you can see Bret Hart was just selling the hell out of that move. Of course, Bret Hart took the chest to the turnbuckle move, as he does in all of his matches. And yeah, just a cool visual, you know, when you see the way Bret Hart is able to sell everything in all of his matches. Anyway, like I was saying, Shawn Michaels goes up to the top rope, attempts a drop kick towards the end, and Bret Hart catches him by the legs, and he applies the sharpshooter, turns him over, and that's all she wrote. Bret Hart retains the WWF Championship in this classic must-see encounter. My favorite one-on-one match and my #1 pick for the top 12 matches, singles matches in the history of Survivor Series. So yeah, guys, that's my list. I hope you have enjoyed this video. And yeah, that's my #1 pick. Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, the 1992 Survivor Series for the WWF Championship. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope everyone has a good night. And I'll be back at some point with another video. And I'll see you guys later. Peace.